Hello and welcome, Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you are all having a splendid day and thanks for joining me. And today I wanted to take a look at my home city, which is Perth, Australia, just to show you the buildings that we have and had, the ones that are no longer with us, but in Perth, a city that was found in 1829. And a little bit about the history of Perth is that Perth was founded by Captain James Stirling in 1829 as the administrative centre of the Swan River colony. It gained city status, vested in the smallest city of Perth in 1856, and was promoted to the status of Lord Mayoralty, so it had a Lord Mayor, in 1929. The city inherited its name due to the influence of Sir George Murray, then Member of Parliament for Perthshire and Secretary of State for War and the Colonies. Nice, War and the Colonies. So there you go, just a little bit on Perth. Founded 1829, and founded of course means they turned up on a boat with pretty much nothing. Nothing was here. And so we'll have a look at what they managed to build, apparently, in a very short time. So our dates, that's not that long ago, right? So obviously with America, they've got cities and the dates don't make sense. But when you look at Australia, our dates are even closer. But we have the same architecture and the same infrastructure as we find all over the earth. So I thought we'd jump into that. Just before we do, a big thank you to everyone who does support this channel in whichever way you can, by liking, sharing, subscribing, and of course a huge thank you to all my Patreon and PayPal subscribers and everyone who helps out and buys merch from the merch store, and all the links are below if you would like to help out. So let's jump into it and have a look at old Perth. Alright, now this shot here, this is from, around the 50s, 60s, I believe. Just starting to get a bit of McDonald's coming in. And this is the AMP building. And just this shot, you can see in this shot, this is St. George's Terrace in Perth, which is one of the main streets. Huge old Tartarian building. You can see another one here with all the railing on it, the arched windows, and just all the way up the street. This one not sure of, and even up on top here, it's not the best resolution, but look, we have is it one on each side, a person on each side? This person looks like they're holding a baby maybe, and someone up, but the two statues and of course the two poles, one on each side, right? But now they're flag poles, right above the portals, and of course everything built, the way it should be, basically. This is obviously an older shot. Now this is 1800s. We're talking probably around the 1880s. This is the old Perth boys' school, and as you can see, this is a castle. Big castle turret here. Steps going up. This is, you can see the bottom. It's all been covered over, which they do. Streets of Tartaria. If you haven't checked out that channel, he does great work, and he shows how all this bottom layer is all just facading, to cover up the windows, right? And yeah, next to it, look what we have, this old church. Now this is 1880s. Let's be kind. Let's say 1900. Okay, so that is 64 years after apparently they turned up on the Swan River in a boat and stepped ashore, and there was nothing here at all. Nothing, no industry, nothing. 64 years later, or probably less, we got this castle thing. They got power poles, streets, and this, which is already looking very old. So yeah, the narrative doesn't really add up, does it? So this is the Esplanade Hotel, and this is the one that was in Perth. Now this has been knocked over, but look at the level of this street. Like, it's just it goes straight up. But a massive, again, massive old world building, and look at this turret. Castle turret here, got the Antiquitech on top. All the usual suspects, all the same features we see everywhere. And in Australia, see this balcony that's been built on the front. See how this is a brick building, all masonry, all very solid, done very well, and on the front they whacked this balcony and it's made of wood. So that tells you it's a retrofit, apart from the fact that it actually is built into this slope as well, because these pillars do get shorter as it goes up. So this is a retrofit, and they do this to all the buildings in Australia. They put these balconies on them, to give them the Australian look. And in Perth and Fremantle as well, they love to wash everything with limestone. And you can see as well, just the houses next door, they're all old world. And this, horse and cart, this would have been 1800s, so yeah, late 1800s. This is no longer there. We have an Esplanade Hotel in Fremantle still. Now this one I found under Perth, and it does look like St George's Terrace. Not 100% sure though, but back in the day, and look at this street, just lined with old world buildings, and here we have these power line things again, and again, not many wires. See? Where are the wires? What are they? And this guy having his photo opportunity. Oh, we've got a fighter over a bike here. Look at this. Fighting over a bike. This is the old boys' school in Perth again. Another shot, and you can just see, like, it looks like a cathedral. Look at this wall here. Got the stained glass. Got all this, whatever this stuff is. I'm not sure what they are, resonators or something. So very cathedral looking, but also, not the typical cathedral. It's got the features, but very factory looking as well, isn't it? A lot of these buildings get turned into factories. This one got turned into a school, and here's someone having a drink on a water fountain. And you see these, well, you used to see these a lot. They're probably still in old world cities. Always the same design, these water fountains. And who put all the plumbing in? The roads aren't even done, but they've got plumbing under the ground to bring water up to this fountain. And of course a little dome here on the wall, and windows going into the ground. And just completely symmetrical underneath this arch window, just straight into the ground. This is the same kind of place. It's the same building here, but from another shot. So this is what's next door to it. And again, oh look, we've got a Dalek. These post boxes too, they used to be everywhere. They've ripped them all out of Australia, so I don't know if you've got them in your city, but they used to be everywhere. Steps going up, windows going into the ground, and you can see they've all been sort of filled in here. And just a huge old world building and Antiquitech all over the place. Stained glass windows. In Perth, this would be around 1900, I guess, early 1900s. Okay, so this pic is, 1800s, late 1800s, I would say, looking at the dress here. Looks like all women. I'm not sure what they're doing. I think this is Governor House, but I'm not sure. But check out this. See how it's built up, or is it on this wall? I'm not sure, or behind it, but look at this big wall going around the outside, and straight into the dirt. It just kind of disappears. And yeah, just old red brick buildings. The whole Moorish look to it, where we see these, the different coloured bricks. And obviously when you do that, if they're made of different materials, you start to generate different energies basically because of the differentials that's created between the materials. It's like what the concept for orgonite. So I'm not sure what it does exactly, but that could be part of it. But yeah, that's Perth. Yeah, big wall, right? Big sandstone wall, 1800. So this is probably, you know, within 60 years of them apparently turning up in a boat with nothing. Okay, so this is the conservatory at Perth. So yeah, check that out. They've managed to get a bit of a road going up here. But look, two massive red brick buildings. Check out the doorway here, this Greco-Roman doorway. I'm not sure what this is. This looks like it's half broken. And we've got our big dome up here with their telescopes in there, no doubt. And then another big building, but just out in the middle of nowhere and completely old world. They don't look level. This definitely doesn't look level. And they're supposed, you know, at this point they would have to be pretty much brand new. And they don't really look new, do they? You know, obviously, you know, they've planted all their trees. They're starting to redo it all. But yeah, these look very found, don't they? Now this is... I'm not exactly sure. Oh, this is the building that was next to the boys' school. Maybe this is the girls' school because we have girls out the front here. But yeah, completely mud flooded. We had a look at this one before. Just huge old world building in Perth. You know, why not? Just whack them up. This is an old shot again. No roads. So we're talking, you know, late 1800s, maybe the turn of the century. Look at this building. I mean, and look at the size of that. These are 2-story houses. So how tall's that? That's a huge, you know, that's what, you know, they turn into factories. But if you have a look, see the roof line, how it does that? If we go back here, see the roof line there? See that? On the old boys' school, right? That's the same kind of building. I think there was a better shot here. So yeah, you can see the roof popping up there and see how it's just a long square building, right? So that pretty much, this one, see that? That is the same, I wonder if it's the same building as this. I mean, it's not the same building, but see how it's the same design, the same structure, the same sort of basic design. Yeah, so what's that for? Don't know. Terrace houses, red brick, 2-story, all built, haven't even done the roads. But we've got the power lines in, but again, without any power lines, all the power poles. And yeah, so this is Perth. This Perth city is over this way, to the west, you know, to the west coast. This is reversed, but Swan River, and so this is up around, I guess, what we, the Maylands area, sort of, I think. Could just be up East Perth, but yeah, I mean, looking very found, isn't it? I mean, you see, you know, you can imagine they could have built these things, these little huts, you know, but this and this so quickly, and what for? Why would you need a building this size, you know, for a tiny little population? Wouldn't you be out rather, you know, making farms to grow food, putting wells down or something? This is just, this is Perth shopping. I think this is it London Court? I'm not sure. But a bit of shopping, looking in the pet store. How much is that doggy in the window? Oh, that's a bit creepy. Oh, Hearns. This was the like the Perth department store back in the day. Of course, they're gone now. Check out these columns. You know, again, we get this different, you know, the square round, the different, I'm not sure if they're different materials, but could be something to do with energy and differentials. And again, these nice old world buildings, look at them, all 3 of them. And look how old this looks. This is like 50s, not that early, but looking pretty old. But yeah, these old world buildings, and they just hang these you know, these crappy roofs on them. You can see it's just hanging off the building here, and these ugly glass fronts, and turn them into shops. And in Perth, you know, probably like every city, you see them, and well, back in the day, not so much now, they'd all be shops, and upstairs, you know, you might have an office or two, but it'd pretty much be vacant. You know, they didn't even use them. Okay, so this is a ferry. This is Applecross, 1906. And the Canning Bridge in the background. Now look at the hump on that thing. That's gone, of course. Got our nice boat, but this was a bit, yeah, just a Perth. So you can see Perth was just pretty much a lot of scrub and sort of swamp land around a river, and an old world city or two. You know, we've got Fremantle as well. This is an old an old tram from Perth, and look, you're allowed to smoke. Smoking, not smoking. Yeah, and two dudes with the photo op. So this, again, look at the road. It's dirt. It's not, you know, it's not asphalt or anything. It's not paved. It's dirt, and we've got the tracks in the dirt. But we've got trams. Something doesn't add up. And of course, orphans. So this is from Perth, late 1800s, and these are just the girls. Well, one of the orphan, you know, the girl orphan schools. And yeah, just in this building here, which of course another old world building. Looks like we've got a church next to it, or what we call a church. And orphans. I mean, look at them. I mean, you know, this might be the oldest one here, and she's probably 12. I mean, they're all so young. How do you get that many orphans in a brand new, you know, colony, let's call it? You know, in Perth, it's been here for, you know, what, 40, 50 years, and suddenly you got, just at one place, this many orphans, and that's only the girls. It's bringing in the new population. Oh my gosh, someone's lost their roof. So this is Perth now. Okay, so this is Kings Park. So this is old. Wow, this is actually really quite old, this photo. I think that's the Swan Brewery there. Kings Park, so we don't have the freeway and stuff there. Oh, I wish this had better resolution, because up here, oh there, yes, look at that. That's the old barracks. If you can kind of make that out, that wall. I've got some better photos of it coming up. They knocked that down. We've only got the arch left to put a freeway through. And on the other side is Parliament House, and we can see bits of stuff here. And because I suspect that was like the palace type building, and you know, with all the geometry in the ground, because you see it. I'll show you later. But this is actually quite an old photo, and look at the build out, because all these buildings, well, that's not there anymore. I don't think any of these buildings are there anymore. This is the old jetty. Is that the bathhouse? Wow, that looks like that might be the bathhouse when it was still there, because Perth had a bathhouse as well, just like every city. But this, you know, I'm thinking this is, you know, early 1900s, maybe up to 1920 or so. But I mean, just look at these buildings. Every single one of them an old world building, and someone's lost their roof. And this is the thing, most of them, they go in and they do things like re-roof them. You can see this has been re-roofed, and these two probably, and this one they didn't do a very good job on, or they didn't get to it before it fell over. And it looks like a church, you know, just big, you know, castle turrets sticking up out of the landscape. But that's really, I wish I could get in further, because that whole area, I would love to see what it looked like, you know, at the turn of last century. And again, look at this. So this is Beaufort Street. So this isn't, you know, this is a fair way out of Perth City. You know, so we had these buildings everywhere, and look, you know, complete mud flooder. Got steps going up, got old world buildings in the background, but look where it is. It doesn't look built, it looks found, doesn't it? Like, apart from the fact it's in the ground, you know, it doesn't look like this land has been cleared and levelled any time recently. Really, it just looks like, yeah, sand and scrub, and got our train lines here. All this infrastructure, but no people. This is 1898. Okay, so just a quick history here, just a timeline so you know what we're talking about. 1856, Perth is officially proclaimed by Queen Victoria. So, there were people here before that. I think the first landing was 1827, something like that. And then not actually, officially made a city until 1856. 1877, first telegraph from Adelaide to Perth. That's the nearest city. That's quite a way away though. 1881, first railway. 85, newspaper, first newspaper. 1891, we have our gold rushes, of course. 1893, introduction of electricity. 1897, Fremantle Harbour opens. 1898, Perth Zoo opens. So this is all before 1900, Perth Mint 1899. And they've built, and we've seen the photos, there's a lot more than this built. And all within, since, what is it, 60 years at best. Or 70, sorry. And up here it says, the 1890s was a significant decade in Perth's history due to the gold rushes in Coolgardie and Kalgoorlie. In 1891, the population of Perth was 8,447. It tripled to 27,000 by 1901, basically the same because of the gold rush. And that was 10 years later. So it took 10 years to grow those extra, 20,000, just under 20,000 people. So 8,500 people. 8,500 people is what they had in 1898. We can be nice. We can say 9,000 people in Perth. And they're building buildings like this and this. And like I said, these aren't in the city. These are, a fair way away from the city. So it's not like they're building, a central hub with all the buildings. These things are everywhere. This is Perth back in the day from terrace. I'm not sure what terrace means. I'm thinking this is up near St. George's Terrace. Or maybe we're looking across to, we must be looking across to Perth from South Perth. But look at this. So what was the year? Don't know. Pretty old. Turn of the century, at least. And look at the build out. Look at the build out and look at the sky. Is that all industry? Is that industry smoke, you reckon? What's going on there? Or is that just some kind of clever vanilla skying? Here you go. This is the bathhouse. This was out the front of Perth. And, why not? This is what you would build, right? In a brand new city that's been there for, 40 years, 50 years, you'd put all your resources into building these onion domes. And, all the fencing around here. Yes, that's what you would do. So this is Government House. Back in the day. Now this is early, you can see the dress. So this is definitely 1800s, probably 1880s-ish, a bit earlier, maybe. And look at this building. And of course, they just say, oh, it's just built for the government to live in. It's a castle. And look at all these sort of, what are they? Dome-ish, Middle Eastern type dome things. But yeah, look at that building. It's just a drawing, of course. The illustrated, not sure what that says. But this is what was going on in Perth back in the day. Is that a piano? No, it must be selling something. This dude's got his little sidecar. So again, we have these power poles, but where are the wires? What is going on? Look at this massive statue thing. I don't think that's there anymore. There's something there. I can't remember what it is though. But this is, obviously back, 30s, 20s maybe? Now this is called the Horseshoe Bridge, and you can see these arches. This is an old red brick bridge. that goes up over the railway tracks. And there used to be shops under here in all these arched windows, but now they're all empty. But yeah, this whole bridge, it's all connected up to the railway station and everything, and it's, yeah, I don't think we built it. There's the baths again. Someone having a photo opportunity, thumbs up. Perth, Western Australia. Oh, we've got lots of them. But I mean, you know, talk about over the top, right? Okay, so this is cool. I have no idea where this is. Oh, actually, this is Fremantle. I noticed, is that where it was? This building, this is gone now. This was called like a hippodrome or something. But I'm pretty sure it was in Fremantle. You can see all the all the antiquitech coming off it. But this, right, massive, you know, huge red brick building, and look what's on the side of it. This is what they could build. This, not this, and still no roads, and still just dirt roads over here. I don't know what's going on. They're refacing something. As you can see, every building pretty much they've put these balconies on to change the look of them, because it's all Australia, right? Here we go. So this is that horseshoe bridge again, and you can see underneath all these arches. Oh, it's okay. It's a light. Yeah, that's what that is. A light. And I mean, look at that. Look at that old world light. Can you see this? I mean, and look at the size of this lady. I mean, so imagine how big this is for this little light. Yeah, right. Okay. This is the train station. Old red brick building. Looks a bit different now. Looks like they've still got the tram lines in. But yeah, just completely built out everywhere. Industry going by the looks of it. And this would, you know, horse and carts, turn of the century sort of time. Down the beach. Got some swings. Now this is the factory. This is down at Fremantle, which is, Fremantle's like the port city. It's part of Perth now. It used to be its own city. But this thing, I need to get down there and have some more of a look at it. It looks very old world, but they've turned it like an old world factory of some kind. I'm not sure, but they've turned it into an energy, you know, like a power station, power factory. You can see they've put stuff all over it. Looks like they were burning coal in there or something. But yeah, that's a pretty, and it's just out by itself, just on the beach, pretty much. Just yeah, just kind of in the middle of nowhere for no reason. All right, look at this. This is Perth, so South Perth. This is so there should be a bridge here somewhere, out of the view. I think that's South Perth. It's a bit hard to tell. But I mean, even then, you can just see there's just roofs and things dotted everywhere. Like, it's all built out. There you go. Why not? Just yeah, why not? Build this. And this, just put this next to it just to show, you know, just to prove that you actually didn't build this. You know, and I mean, come on. That's just ridiculous, is it not? And again, we still haven't done the road. They've got a bit of a road there. They've got a bit of a road. Again, you see, here we go, like these balconies, right? Every single build, they turn out so many into pubs as well. Every pub in Australia, pretty much, well, not so much now. There used to be just all like this, the big red brick buildings. Every country town has one. It's always a pub or the hotel. And yeah, back in the day. And look at the brickwork. This is that where we see they're different size. They have like a full brick, then a half brick, and they're different colours. So I mean, would you go to that effort? I mean, look at who's laying the bricks. This guy maybe, you know, I don't know. He could be drunk. These dudes know. Who's building this thing? Antiquitech. It's just, you know, madness. This is Governor James Sterling. He's the dude who lived, the first guy to live in that big castle, the governor's house. And of course, they have to wear all their finery that links them to war and, conquest and all that kind of stuff. The old brewery. So this is the Swan Brewery, 1890. If that date is correct, look at what's going on over here in the background. Like, that's Perth City. It's Kings Park. That'll be Perth City yet. South Perth will be up here. Look at that. It's just completely built out. Is that the bars? Can't see the domes. But, that's ridiculous. 1890. So that's what, 60 years around about after they stumbled ashore with nothing. And look at this, because the brewery, right? The brewery's got to be the biggest building in town. But again, big red brick buildings, and then these little makeshift things that are half the size, made of wood, just hanging off it. That's 1890. There you go. Another shot. So this is the Esplanade. I guess this is the old Esplanade Hotel there, maybe that's it. Cathedrals everywhere. But look, it's just completely built out with tartaria, what we call Tartarian or old world red brick buildings. Just it's completely built out. And of course, unfortunately most of these are gone now. They just run around and knock them all over. This is up in the hills, so this is nowhere near the city. And this is called tea rooms. So I guess you go in here and get your tea, but fairly elaborate and all these bits. And literally that's just up in the, it would have taken a lot of effort to get the materials up there and build that, let's put it that way. Oh, here we go, washing the streets. The Perth Electric trains, trams, something, trolleys. Oh, Swan Brewery. Oh, that must be beer. There you go. All stout. This is the beer machine. So here they come with their beer. I'm not sure what they're spraying. But yeah, that looks like an old photo too. But they've got their machinery. They can make their beer and deliver it. And apparently they can build out all these cities. Now this is just an interesting pic because this is back in the 60s. And see this. This used to be the river. And they filled it in to put their freeways and stuff through. So now there's a lake sort of about there, which is all that's left. The rest is that. But yeah, that used to be the river, and they filled it in. So I wonder if there's a wall under the ground there somewhere. Yeah, Viking house. What do you say about that? Come on. Mud flutter, next to a mud flutter. Just mad. That's ridiculous. So, how tall did that used to be? Was that, is that an old world skyscraper? Because it's got that kind of look, it could be God knows how tall. But yeah, just old world buildings back in the day. That one is gone as well. Found this interesting because this is out in the bush, what we call the bush in Australia, which is pretty much a desert. And all these people just hanging out. Got a few bikes, got their camels, and this is an old world red brick building in the background. They've painted their name on the roof, but look at that thing. Come on, that's a big building too for these people to put together out in the bush. But it ain't made of wood, that's for sure. Yeah, balconies again on an old world building. Look at this. And one at the front, just for good measure. And back in the day, horse and cart. But again, it's the same story. Every single building is an old red brick building that has had something done to it to make it look like it's from that country, to make it look different from other countries. So, like I said, in Australia, they put these verandas on. They love that to put limestone on. In other countries they use like the grey sort of, try and make them look like megalithic bricks, like the castle things that we see. They paint them. They use the white covering, the stucco that we see everywhere. Everyone gets a different sort of look, so that it all looks like it's from a different culture, but maybe just a bit of a copycat building. But truth is, they're all built by the same culture before we got here. This is Government House again. I'm not sure who this guy is, but he's pretty happy with himself. I mean, look at this. That's a massive building. And of course, they just got the turret up here, the belfry, and they give it to the governor, right? You're going to rule this place? Sure, you get the biggest house, why not? So there's no way that was a house in the old world. Not sure what it was. Now here's another one. Now this one is after they got electricity, as you can see. Look at this mess. I mean, look what they were doing, and now they tell us, don't touch electricity, you'll blow up. But look at this. And again, it's going this way, but see down the road with these ones, there doesn't seem to be that many wires going down. Yeah, back in the day, this is, I believe this is no, this is Perth. Yeah, trams, horse and cart, as you can see, dirt roads and just massive buildings just lining the street. Just silly. This, right, the Parliament House in Perth. So this, again, look at this. This is just behind the freeway and behind the barracks. What we used to have, they called the barracks, which is really a star citadel is what it is. And this was right behind it. So this is what I think was, and you can see they've covered it in limestone. Still got, the usual features. But this was, I think, like the palace type building, because there's all these gardens and all this geometry in the ground around it. This looks like the same shop, but just a bit later. Oh, okay, so this is where they're apparently erecting the power poles. They don't have a tool between them. They're just pushing this pole up. This guy's, yeah, but I'll push it from this side. Woohoo! Really? Electric poles, okay. Makes sense to me. Because it's in a book. Yeah, so this is that shot again. This, you can see, this is what they've filled into the river. And this, okay, so this, what can we say? This is the freeway. This is that Parliament House we just saw, and you can see it's big courtyard inside, just like all the old world buildings. And we can't quite see, the barracks must be just out of the frame here. But basically, yeah, there was a big citadel here, and it kind of, old world building there, it kind of went across and up the hill, and there was all these gardens and things. So, they completely, I mean, look at that. They've just completely changed the whole, everything. Fremantle, back in the day. Got a few people coming in. Wow, populations have arrived. I've got some kids up here running around. And yeah, red brick buildings. Now warehouses. But I mean, again, these are tall ships, right? So what are we talking? 1800s, before the turn of the century. Got trains, train tracks, and look at all these buildings. Like, look at this one. See the arches? Old world building, and everywhere, all up here. See that portal? All of it. So it's already there. This is way back in the day. And Fremantle's supposed to be even, like 10 years kind of behind Perth as far as being found and all that kind of thing. This is a bit small, this picture, but you can see huge old world buildings back in the day. Got some trees that they've brought in, they've had to trim them. Mud flutters. Just silly. So I'll just do a few more. And this is actually Pinjarra. So this is a country town. This is out in what we call the bush, out in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. And today this town would, under 10,000, I would think. Not very, probably a lot less than that, to tell you the truth. And look at this. Look at this facade here, just standing up. Red brick, of course. And this, you know, it's a good example. We see these everywhere, but they're always covered, aren't they, with limestone or some other thing to make them white or different colours. A different look is what it is. You can see there's another big building here with a big red brick chimney coming out the top. And of course, every house has to have its veranda, because that's what we do in Australia. And this is up at the top of Kings Park. Kings Park's a big hill next to the city. This is the city down here, Swan River overlooking it. And of course, and Kings Park has so many of these obelisks, and they turn them all into war memorials, of course. Underneath this, there's a building that goes under the ground. And you see these, and they're all different heights. Like, they're all buried to different levels. Like, there's about 10 of them through the park. It's quite funny. So it's just all old world stuff. This is London Court back in the day. This, you know, and this is it. Wow, that's an old pic. See, this is still called London Court, and it's basically like just a little a street, you know, with all these old world shops, and you know, shops basically that look like old world London. That's why it's called London Court, obviously. Oh my God, look at that. That's not there anymore. That's a castle. Oh my gosh. But this is here still, London Court. And I didn't, you know, they kind of give you this impression that it's new and it's been built to look like that. But looking at this photo, clearly it was that way all the time. So this is just clearly just an old world street. And they've just, I don't know, found it intact and decided to keep it or something. But it looks pretty much exactly the same today. I'll have to get out and get some photos of it. When I can drive. My arm is nearly fixed. Parliament House. So there you go. So I'll leave it there. So this is the art gallery. So this is it was the old girls' school or whatever that building was on the corner. Gone now, but yeah, same old thing. Old world buildings and people posing for photos. Even look at this thing here. What's that doing there? It's just sticking out the ground. And of course they built this, right? They built this funny thing, and this is the best fence that they could get together. I mean, they're not even planks. They're literally, they look like branches that are still, they haven't been planed or anything. They're just round branches stuck, like nailed in. I mean, that's what they can build, not this. So there you go, guys. A few photos. Been rambling a bit, so I'll end it there. So hope you enjoyed that one. Bit of a walkthrough. Yeah, my home city of Perth, just to show you that it's absolutely full of old world buildings with really no explanation. You start looking into any of these buildings and, you know, the story just falls apart. You know, and you really just, you know, looking at this many pictures, that, you know, if it's not raising questions, I don't know what will. So, you know, his story, of course, is his story. It's not our story. History is a set of lies agreed upon. So said Napoleon, apparently. So thank you for spending some time with me, guys. Stay awesome. Again, a big thanks to all my supporters. I really do appreciate you all in, you know, whichever way you can and do support me. And yeah, thanks for spending some time with me, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.